2 weeks ago, I found out that my senior dog needed a bunch of veterinary care. At the same time, I found out I needed major, very expensive dental work. When my veterinary office offered me the option of CareCredit and I found out I could use it for both things, I decided to go ahead and apply. But since then, I've learned that there are a lot of pitfalls to CareCredit that can cost you a ton of money. In this video, I'll explain what CareCredit is and how you can avoid those pitfalls. So CareCredit is essentially like a store credit card that can only be used for medical items. And CareCredit is through Synchrony Bank, which is the bank that offers most store credit cards. So if you go to a furniture store and they offer you 12 months, same as cash, that's likely Synchrony Bank. So this is the same sort of deal. Some of the most common things that people use it for are pet care, dental care, cosmetic procedures, and vision care. Don't get me started on why our teeth and eyeballs are not part of our healthcare, but we'll stay on topic. With CareCredit, you can get 0% financing or reduced APR financing. The offers that you get are dependent on the place where you're using it. So for example, my veterinary office only offered up to 6 months 0% financing, but another office might offer up to 24 months free financing. If you buy things that are under $200 or from a retail store, there's no promotional offers, so it kind of acts just like a regular credit card. So it sounds like a pretty good deal. You can pay off your medical expenses over time with 0 interest or a lower APR. So what's the catch? Well, there are a lot of them. The first one is that it is deferred interest, not really 0 interest. So when you purchase an item at 0% interest for 6 months, you actually start accruing interest on day 1, the day you purchase that item. And that interest builds up over time as you make payments on it. And if you haven't paid it off by 6 months on the day, the very next day you owe all the interest for that entire 6-month period. So you can see how that can cost you a lot of money. I wanted to point out that this is different than a 0% credit card offer. If you have 0% interest for 12 months on your credit card, you're going to be charged 0% on those purchases until 12 months is up, and then you'll be charged the regular interest rate on the amount that's left. You're not charged interest back those 12 months previous. The second big pitfall actually has to do with your credit report. When you apply for the CareCredit card, it'll ask you how much do you need for this expense. So let's say you need $2,000 for some dental work and you say that you need $2,000. Well, CareCredit will approve you for exactly $2,000. If you go ahead and charge that dental work to the card, you now have a $2,000 balance on a card with a limit of $2,000. That's a maxed out credit card. When you have a maxed out credit card on your credit report, it's gonna lower your credit score. So if you are gonna sign up for a CareCredit account, I would highly suggest you ask for a much higher amount than what you need, maybe triple. If you already have a CareCredit account that is maxed out, I would request a credit line increase. The next pitfall is what happens when you're paying off multiple charges. If you make a payment and you have multiple purchases on the account, they're gonna apply it to the one with the highest interest or the one that's due the soonest. This might be what you want, but it might not fit with your plan and how you were planning to pay off those promotional purchases on time before they were due. Now, if your payment doesn't get applied the way you want, you can contact customer service and they will change it around for you. But you need to watch this like a hawk. The next pitfall is you need to be really careful about when you pay your account so you don't end up with late fees. On my account, you can see that I have a minimum payment due, but I just made a payment a few days ago. I made the payment before the statement closed. There's actually only a 3-week period where you can make your payment and it will count on that statement. You would think you could avoid this by setting up automatic payments, and I was going to do that, but I found out the only date you can have your automatic payment go through is the statement due date. You cannot set it for a week before. The reason this is dangerous is because if you set up an automatic payment on the due date, if something goes wrong, your payment's late. There's no time to fix it. I think they do this on purpose to force you to have late payments. So to avoid this, I decided to use my bank bill pay to pay the CareCredit and be really careful about which date I chose to have it paid. The last pitfall I think is the worst, and that's that most people make decisions to sign up for CareCredit when they're in a really vulnerable place. You can sign up and get approved immediately while standing in the dentist's office in pain and upset about the dental work that you can't afford. And CareCredit is really easy to qualify for, which is great, except it does mean that a lot of people are signing up for it that maybe can't afford it. Unfortunately, it's a cruel fact of the system that we live in. If you want to avoid using CareCredit, a lot of times a 0% credit card offer is going to be a better deal, but you don't always have time for that and not everyone qualifies for those. Or if you have access to an FSA or HSA, those are definitely better choices. If you want to learn more about FSAs and HSAs, watch this video next that explains more about what they are. I wish our healthcare system was different than it was, and unfortunately, under this system, CareCredit is often people's best option. If you choose to go with CareCredit, just make sure you're really careful so it doesn't cost you more than you bargained for.